pleasant about that place. Even your emotions have an echo and so much space. Hey. And when you're out there without care, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Yeah.
Oh, this the one?
Nobody,
We all get caught in our own sins.
nobody,
Sometimes I have to remind myself that on my worst day, I live like somebody on their greatest. And so do you. Don't let your demons take you to hell. Introduce them to heaven.
Niggas go to college, some niggas go to jail.
You see it?
Make it into heaven, ooh, some make it into hell.
I know I do.
Nobody wanna lose, nobody wanna fail, nobody wanna die,
DC3.
nobody wanna care. The things we do just to make it through. Ooh, but nobody wanna lose, nobody wanna fail, nobody wanna die. We're just trying to live our lives. Yeah. Look, I got
Alright, guys. I just liked the chorus. I just liked the chorus and the words of those two. That was it. Alright, so it is April 15, 2021, 8:46 p.m. on the Gregorian calendar. So by the time y'all get this, I'm going to post this for the Sabbath day. Maybe around afternoon time. I think that'll be sufficient enough for you guys. Pretty much don't have too much to say, but I'm gonna get straight into the lesson. First, we're gonna be discussing. Hold on 1 second. Oops, sorry guys, I'm back. Oops. Alright guys, so I'm back to finish. I had to take my daughter to the bath real quick. Situated. Alright, so before I start my audio recording that I just did of Genesis chapter 3, which we're gonna resume on that part. Ooh. So active. Alrighty. Trying to get things set up. Go this way. Alright, can y'all hear me? Alright, so I'm gonna start on that audio real quick in a minute. So I wanted to go over the Kai, hold on 1 second. Alright, resuming. Alright, so I'm gonna read this small little article I printed out on April the 4th, 2021. And it says The Number 7 Numerology by Maria, the numerologist. Meaning of number 7. Since the dawn of time, the number 7 has had a special place in most civilizations. As a magical number, the number 7 fascinates and intrigues. Why? What does the number 7 mean? Let's discover here the symbolism of the scarves, or I would say it wasn't scarves. Scarves is when you're in purple form. Scarce or sacred, scarce is when you're in perfect form, but sacred number means holy. Sacred means holy. Scarce means purple, scorn. But sacred means cleanse, heal, white, snow. The other side, because it's a twofold. Alright, so number 7, symbolic number. Every day we come across the number 7. We even sometimes don't realize it, but it is part of our everyday life. The 7 days of the week and the 7 colors of the rainbow. This number is also a particular strong symbol. In many cultures, it is considered beneficial and protective. Its magical aspect opened the door to many beliefs and superstitions. Often considered a sacred number, the number 7 bears within it something spiritual, eternal. So the number 7 bears is something spiritual and eternal. Number 7 in numerology. The study of numbers is a pretty complex field. We already had the opportunity to broach the subject in an article dedicated to it, in which the meaning of the number 7 appears. In numerology, this number is a sacred one that refers to wisdom. Number 7 in astrology. In the universe of the stars, the number 7 has a preponderant place to it. Indeed, it corresponds to the number of planets and to the metals that are commonly linked to them, namely Mars and iron, Venus and copper, Saturn and lead, Jupiter and tin, Mercury and mercury, the moon and silver, and the sun and gold. Seemed like that was all the things she was clothed in Revelations, right? Y'all just put so much stuff in that type of. But shout out to the one that drew that picture, that came up with that design I used. It was very unique. I loved it. Especially the one with the black and then the silver and all that. So I loved both of the images of whoever drew that. So it was very I liked it. I liked it overall. So okay, so I'm gonna start with my auto first, and then we'll jump into the lesson that I got for us today. And so I really liked it. And this is on my Facebook, which I posted just maybe like an hour ago. Yeah, about an hour ago. But the caption just kept it simple of Genesis chapter 3, the Hebrew tongue. God banished man from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. He drove away the man and stationed the Seramet or Bet, the east of Eden, along with the revolving sword blade to guard the path of the tree of life. So I will go into that right quick. Alright, finna start our Genesis 3 reading. It's so peaceful outside. It's 7:47 p.m. So fresh. The land dead down here somewhere, but atmosphere and the wind when the evenings start to come in is so fresh. I hear some of the birds chirping, but all right. Sarai Barashit, Book of Genesis, chapter 3. The serpent was the most cunning of all the wild beasts that God had made. The serpent asked the woman, "Did God really say that you may not eat from any of the trees of the garden?" Vehena chasha haya aran biko chashyak had shikata asha asha adeneya Elohim vayama el haisha o como Elohim la chakalo makel iktis hakan. Right. The woman replied to the serpent, We may eat from the fruit of the trees of the garden. Vetamo ha'ashiyah el ha'nakshik mapra it is hakan nochol. But of the fruit of the tree that is in the midst of the garden, or in the middle of the garden, God said, Do not eat and do not. So it said, do not eat it and do not even, parentheses, touch it, or else you would die. Amar paro rectas asha batash hagan amor Elohim lo tachiklo miyame vilo tachikoba pentinamankol. The serpent said to the woman, You will certainly die. No, he didn't. He says, the serpent said to the woman, You will surely not die. Va'amar hena chashin elha ishaluma timotan. Really, God knows that on the day you eat from it, your eyes will be open and you will be like God, knowing good and evil. Kanya Dio Elohim Kabiyan Akonoshem Yama Vigna Fexkan Chikolo Inaishin Vihai Atan Ke Halum Elohim Yah Etavora. The woman saw that the tree was good to eat and desirable to the eyes, and that the tree was attracted as a means to gain intelligence. She took some of its fruit and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, and he said it, or he ate it. Now let's pause. So that woman that was in that garden, which they call, her name was Eve, right? And they said she saw the tree was good to eat and her desire for eyes, that the tree was so attracted as means to gain intelligence. So we know that this Eve ate up the fruit. Now, we're not saying the species of her, but we're putting it in the form because it says Mother Eve did. She also gave some to her husband. He ate it. Now, on the serpent point of view, he's explaining that she did that. When and all. It could be Adam, her husband, was the serpent telling her that, to eat upon that, to deceive or manipulate. Okay? To go against the one, the Elohim. So, Vectora ha-ashiakatu ha-ektes lama ako vitcha ta'eva hula la-inaya vignashmed hitoritas laheshko vatikwa maparaya vetokas vindidingan gamli ashinya asheya amevakol. The eyes of both of them were open, and they realized that they were naked. They sewed together fig leaves and made themselves lion cloths. Veta pakena ina shnahem vikyedi ka ramya him veket kapara aletin ina va ye asa lahim chakato or chirika. So either you can say chirika or chirikra. They heard God's voice moving about in the garden with the wind of the day. The man and his wife hid themselves from God among the trees of the garden. Vashemia eko Adonai Elohim mesachklesh ambaken lerua kayam voik chakapi haeda viishta mipina andenia Eliam or Elim bichash ites hagan. So God called to the man and he said, "Where are you?" Trying to hide. They ikrakwa Adonai Elohim el ha'anam varyamola eko. I heard your voice in the garden, replied the man, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid. Vayama ikochi shamita began araka aram achiniya victive. God asked, "Who told you that you are naked? Did you eat from the tree which I commanded you not to eat?" Vayama ma heki lakchiki aram ata hemi harektas asha. Tishivincha, Levite, Aqua Minyana Achakia. The man replied, "The woman that you gave to be with me, she gave me what I ate from the tree." Vayama he Adam ha ashi hasha natata imite ha na li mina herictas ve atrukom. God said to the woman, "What is this? What have you done?" The woman replied, "The serpent seduced me and I ate it." Rama Adame or Adonai Elohim La'ish Mayok Aset Vatamor Ha'isha Hanachukta Ha'ina Vokocho. God said to the serpent, "Because you did this, cursed are you more than all the livestock, and all the wild beasts. On your belly you shall crawl, and dust shall eat all the days of your life." Vanyama Adonai Elohim hanachta ke esetaza ore ata mako habahima mako jaget hashide kashniya talish vakmo takwe kayamai chachiko or chachicha or chachista. I will plant hatred between you and the woman, and between your offspring and her offspring, and he will strike you in the head, and you will strike him in the heel. Esed benache, Yuven ha asha, Yuven zahake, Yuvena, Yara, Yeshufashka, Rush vah ade to shafina akha, or akif. To the woman, he said, I will greatly increase your anash, or anguish, and your pregnancy. It would be with anguish that you will give birth to children. Your passion would be to your husband, and he would dominate you. El haisha amor haba ibe yista bonsha ver haraksna be ishir teda venia ve el ishta Choshkatish avuhul yemshala bish. To Adam, he said, you listened to your wife and ate from the tree, regarding which I specifically gave you orders, saying, do not eat from it. The ground will therefore be cursed because of you. You would deprive or deride from food. It would anguish all the days of your life. Enkla o Elah amoka Shemitah loko ishtashe votokcha vinharikes asha te vinshita lamolo toko miminya o rohya hadaneyama bo ofrakshika be isvan tashikna ko yama chachiksha. It will bring forth thrones and thistles from you, and you will eat the grass of the field. Vectis or vakats, vardakas, tash, maashelash, veik, chote e vides, or esivi, hashati. By the sweat of your brow you will eat bread. Finally you will return to the ground, for it was from the ground that you were taken. You are dust, and to dust shall you return. Basic act of Porsha teke lakcham e. O shavukcha e hadaniya kamen mona lokochana ki efra achavi e kafo chashi. The man named his wife Eve because she was the mother of life, of all life. Va'agra ha adaniya shem ishta shava he ha he ta e kocha. God made leather garments for Adam and his wife, and he clothed them. Ve'ya'ez Adonai Elohim li Adam yu'lo ishta katna'o ve'ya'bishan. God said, man has now become like one of us in knowing good and evil. Now he must be prevented from putting forth his hand and also taken from the tree of life. He can eat it and live forever. Vayama Adonai Elohim hin ha Adonai haya ki achi minyana latte etovara for eta pishilasha yodova lachka gem mi etis ha churniam the ekor fashale alam. God banished man from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he was taken. Ve'yisha shela chikul Adonai Elohim my gan garden or my gan Eden la evo e Adonai asha la kishmishan. He drove away the man and stationed the cherubim or cherumat the east of Eden, along with the resolving slade blade or sword blade to guard the path of the tree of life. Vaye goshrish ek ha Adam vayeshminkan mokeden lika ida ehakarivi Ve'elekta ha shavi hamasi pitchta lesh more if defrish atis yeah. Alright, so that was the book reading for Genesis chapter 3. I hope y'all enjoy. Let me get on my recording, which I will play this. Thank y'all for tuning in for this evening. Till next time. Alright, take a small break. Alright, I resume. Okay, so I wanted to go over this with the book of Leviticus. It's a really good guideline of the subjects treated in Leviticus, as in any book of laws and regulations covers several categories. Sorry, let me get on the side. Several categories, which the main one I wanted to say, like holy living, which would be chapters 17 through 26. We see about the eating blood prohibited, the unlawful sexual relations, the various laws for holy living, the punishments for sin, the regulations for priests, the acceptable and unacceptable sacrifices, the annual feasts, rules for oil and bread in the tabernacle, punishment for blasphemy, the Sabbath, and the Jubilee years, covenant, like the covenant blessings and curses, and the regulations for offering vow to the Most High. So, as you know, the REFES, which they put a S, but it's supposed to be a R. So that means like a refer, which a refer in their dictionary is to direct for information or anything require more so consideration, the reference mark. And so as I just read about the Bereshith, which is the book of Genesis, which meaning is beginning. As you see, when you spell Bereshith backwards, which is TISHEREB, and you look it up, it's actually the 7th month of the year, which is September in Hebrew, which on a Jewish calendar, which is Hebrew Torah. From Akkadian beginning Semitic roots. And so that's your YHWH part, which I took the good out of that. And so the tree of life, which is YHVA. And then when we get done toward the end, I will explain a little simpler form of what that means. But that was cool. If you put Barish backwards, type it in, it's going to give you the 7th month of the year from the Akkadian, the beginning, which was Semitic roots. And so that's why I say I'm Hebrew bloodline, Semitic Shem. And so that even proves more, because I told you everything is flip side up, upside down, reverse. So putting it back in order the right way, you'll see it kind of clearer. So I put truth only Bible believers. Aramaic in the Hebrew Bible. Undisputed occurrences. Genesis 31:47. Translation of a Hebrew place name. Jekar Sahatha Strong's H3026. The Proverbs 31:2, the Aramaic word bar, is used instead of the usual Hebrew ben, both meaning sign. Jeremiah 10:11, a single sentence denoting idolatry occurs in the middle of a Hebrew text. Daniel 2:4b through Daniel 7:28 is 5 stories about Daniel and his colleagues and apocalyptic vision. And then you have Ezra, which is 4:8 through 6:18, and you have 7:12 through 26. Quotations of documents from the 5th century BCE on the restoration of the temple in Jerusalem. And so you have many little other ones I can say, but also, so basically for many centuries from at least the time of Jerome of Straton, Biblical Aramaic was misnamed as Chaldean or Chadic or Chadi. That labeled remained common in early Aramaic studies and persisted up to the 19th century. The Chaldean misnomer was consequently abandoned when further research showed collective or conclusively the Aramaic dialogue used in Hebrew Bible was not related with the ancient Chaldeans and their language. Okay. Many have argued that the language most closely resembles the 5th century BC Elatin Para, so is a good representative of typical Imperial Aramaic. Kenneth Kitchen takes an agnostic opposition and states that the Aramaic of the Book of Daniel is compatible with any period from the 5th to early 2nd century BC. Aramaic and Hebrew. Biblical Hebrew is the main language of the Hebrew Bible. Aramaic accounts for only about 250 verses out of a total of over 23,000. Biblical Aramaic is closely related to Hebrew, as both are in the Northwest Semitic language family. Some obvious similarities and differences are listed below. The similarities: Hebrew and Aramaic have simplified the inflections of the noun, adjective, and verb. These are more highly inflected in classical Abric or Arab, Babylonian, and Eucharic. The differences is the definite article is a suffix in Aramaic, an emphatic or determined state, but a prefix h negative in Hebrew. Aramaic is not a Canaanite language, and so did not experience Canaanite vowel shift from A to O. In Aramaic, the preposition dilate functions as a conjunction and is used or is often used instead of the construct to indicate the genitive possessive relationship. Okay, it's a great little article, Bibles, Tools, and thank you, Maria, the numerologist, for that little small article. All right, so the Aramaic, the Bible, third language, truth, only Bible believers. And so this was posted on Monday, November 2015. Well, yeah, we'll say the 23rd of a Monday, November 2015. And it was posted by Stephen Anderson in Biblical Language. Okay, and so we'll read. Aramaic has been in some ways a forgotten language in biblical studies, except at a very high academic level. The New Testament is written in Greek. Nearly all the Old Testament is written in Hebrew. while the Greek translation of the Old Testament, the LXX, is significant to Bible studies. Yet, 268 verses of the Bible were written in a language called Aramaic. The portions of scriptures that were written in Aramaic includes Ezra 4:8 through 6:18 and chapter 7:12 through 26. 67 verses. All right. So Daniel 2nd 4b through 7 to 8, 200 verses. Jeremiah 10:11, and various proper nouns and single words and phrases scattered throughout the Old and New Testament. Despite the related small percentage of scripture that is written in this language, the Aramaic portion of the Bible is disproportionately significant because of the importance of the book of Daniel to biblical prophecy. Aramaic is also important for New Testament studies, as several direct quotes from Jesus and others are preserved in the original Aramaic that was spoken by Palestinian Jews of the Second Temple period. New Testament verses, which include Aramaic words transliterated by Greek letters, are Matthews 5:22, Matthews 27:46, Mark 5:41, Mark 7:34, Mark 10:51, Mark 14 through 36, or I say 14:36, John 1:42, and John 20:16, Acts 9:36, and then Acts 9:40, Romans 8:15, 1 Corinthians 16:22, Galatians 4:6. In the Old Testament, 4 verses make a direct reference to Aramaic language. 2 Kings 18:26, Ezra 4:7, Isaiah 36:11, and Daniel 2:4. Each of these verses called Aramaic, and adverbial form through this used to be translated as Syrian or Chaldee in English. Aramaic is called Hebrew in the New Testament since it was the tongue of the Hebrews. John 5:2, John 19:13, John 17, John 20, and John 20:16. Acts 21:40. Okay, Acts 22:2, Acts 26:14. Some newer translation rendered the Greek word for Hebrew in these verses as Aramaic, which recognizes that these verses refer to the language we know or now call Aramaic. Aramaic was originally the language of the Armenians, who were comprised of tribes that lived along the Euphrates River or Euphrates River. 2 of the most prominent of these tribes were the Syrians to the northwest and the Chaldeans to the southeast. The word Aramaic is derived from Aaron, a son of Shem, who was the progenitor of the Arameans. In the earliest stages of history of Aramaic, the language was only spoken in Aramean locales, including the area where Laman lived. Genesis 31:40, Deuteronomy 26:5. However, as Syrians and Chaldeans gained prominence in the ancient Near East, their tongue became established established an international language of commerce and diplomacy, gradually displacing Akkadian. Akkadian was still the official language of the Assyrian Empire, although 2 Kings 18:26 indicates that the Aramaic was already becoming established as the Lingua Franca of the ancient Near East by 700 BC. When the Chaldeans subsequently conquered Assyria, it was natural for them to use their own language of Aramaic as the administrative language of the Neo-Babylonian Empire, rather than adopting Akkadian. This is why Daniel 2:4 says the wise men of Babylon addressed the king in Aramaic, and why the following sections of the book of Daniel is written in Aramaic. After the conquest of Babylon by Persia, the Persians also established Aramaic as the official language of their vast empire. This is why the portions of Ezra which record officials corresponds are written in Aramaic. At the time when the books of Daniel and Ezra were written, most Jews could speak and understood both Hebrew and Aramaic. They understood Hebrew as the language spoken at home among themselves, and in the reading of the scriptures, while Aramaic was the language spoken in broader society. Over time, Aramaic replaced Hebrew as the primary language spoken by the Jews who lived in Palestine and regions to the east. The Jews had not learned Aramaic in Palestine, cited the 2 Kings 18:26. But they had to learn it in exile since it was the language of their captors. Thus, the parts of the Old Testament which were composed in Aramaic were written in that language as a result of Babylonian captivity. Because of this, Aramaic was the native language of our Savior. Hebrew was rarely used as a spoken language by Jews of the 1st century AD. There are several places where the gospel writers preserve quotations from Yeshua in the original Aramaic, including his cry from the cross, Elo, lama sabachthani, which is Mark 15:34. These words express Christ's deepest feeling at a time of great personal anguish and emotion. That he spoke these words from Psalm 22:1 in Aramaic, rather than from the Hebrew original or the Greek Septuagint translation, shows that Aramaic was the language that he knew more intimately. His mother was Creole Aramaic. Brown skin. In this generation, we would consider them the creations of so-called black Indians, because we're so far from all the past. So now we are being considered at the last ending. We done went through all these bywords through centuries. So the only best accusation I can give y'all Gentiles of other nations that we would be like so-called black Indians. But when we reverse and go back to the history, Brown, the Creole people of descent in those lands, we actually spoke Aramaic, but we were Hebrew by nation. It's of the same, but the mother tongue was Aramaic, his mother, which was like a brown, just a brown Creole, mainly they would say now, like us that be in Louisiana, we Creole, we brown, but some of them denote us as like the black Indians, so-called black Indians, and different things like that. So it's just either way how you look at it. And so shows that Aramaic was a language that he knew more intimately. Thus, the New Testament preserves Aramaic words because Aramaic was the mother tongue of the Palestinian Jews in the 1st century AD. The Greek of the New Testament was influenced by Aramaic, and so contains some Aramaic idioms and forms of expressions, such as the phrase answered and said. Although the degree of Aramaic influence on the Greek of the New Testament has been a subject of much debate, it is fair to say that the style of the New Testament Greek is Semitic, or it says Semitism to one degree or another. But it is not true that parts of the New Testament were originally written in Aramaic. As some have claimed, no manuscript of any part of the New Testament has ever been discovered that it is written in the Jewish Palestine Aramaic dialect known to Yeshua, Yehoshua, and the apostles. After the resurrection of Yeshua, the Syriac dialect of Aramaic became the language of the Syrian church. Aramaic also remained an important language for the Jews. Because of this, there are two major Aramaic translations of the Old Testament: the Jewish Targums and the Syriac Peshitta, which Peshitta. So you see why you say Bashith. So this one says Pashit or Pasita, beginning. There are a number of important Syriac versions of the New Testament. Much of the Jewish rabbinic language, or literature, and nearly all Syrian Christian literature is written in Aramaic. Some of the Dead Sea Scrolls were also written in Aramaic. Both Aramaic and Hebrew are West Semitic language. Like they said, the Jews was in West Africa before the exile, and some of us came before that happened. But both Aramaic and Hebrew are West Semitic language. Thus, Aramaic and Hebrew share many of the two. However, Syriac and other dialects of Aramaic use different scripts, while the Targumon have a system of pointing that differs from the Messianic pointing of the Old Testament. Okay, one of these peculiarities of biblical Aramaic is that the divine name, it says Yahweh, but is never used. For some reason, this name was only used in Hebrew, but in Hebrew it's not pronounced as Yahweh, or it's not. However, the term the God of heaven occurs very frequently in Aramaic, much more than in Hebrew, see? It is also interesting that there are no Old Testament books written entirely in Aramaic. This is apparently to retain the character of the Old Testament as a Hebrew text. Because of the very long linguistic history of Aramaic and the diverse number of groups that have spoken it, there are quite a variety of Aramaic dialects, of which Syriac is the most prominent. Some 80% of exact Aramaic writings is in Syriac, a language which is still spoken today in various dialects and is used in the liturgy of some Eastern churches. There are also distinct differences between different chronological periods of Aramaic. Although liberal scholars have long attempted to deny it, the Aramaic of both Daniel and Ezra is of the Imperial Aramaic dialect that would have been in the use in the 6th century BC. It is noticeable different from both the Aramaic of Qumran and from the 1st century AD Jewish Palestine Aramaic. While Hebrew was used sparingly outside of the Bible, Aramaic was used very broadly. There is a huge corpus of Aramaic literature from about 600 BC until AD 700. Aramaic was the primary trade language of the ancient Near East. It was also the primary spoken language of Palestine, Syrian, Mesopotamia at the time of Christ. Aramaic was only displaced by Arab, like Arabic language, when the Muslims conquered the Middle East. Through the language never died out completely, though the language never died out completely, and is still spoken in pockets of Syria, Iraq, Iran, and Turkey. Aramaic is possibly the language with the longest continuous written record in the world. Because of the broad use of Aramaic outside of the Bible, there is rarely any doubt about the meaning of the words or constructions in biblical Aramaic, as there are many opportunities to research their uses in extra-biblical literature. Although there is only a limited amount of biblical material compiled in Aramaic, the influence of Aramaic language is felt throughout the Old and New Testaments, as it was present in the background from Genesis unto Revelations. Aramaic also had a prominent place in the early church and post-biblical Judaism. But insofar as it is directly used in the Bible, Aramaic is the language of the captivity and of the Redeemer. Postscript for recommended resources for the study of biblical Aramaic. See this post. Since the discovery of the Dead Sea Scrolls, there has been a debate over the extent to which Aramaic had displaced Hebrew in Palestine by the 1st century AD. However, 1st century AD inscriptions in Palestine are almost exclusively in Aramaic or Greek, and Aramaic is consistently used by Yeshua rather than Hebrew. Yeshua or Yehoshua probably understood Hebrew, but as a literary rather than spoken language, he would have known Greek as a second language and spoke it on some occasions, as when dealing with Gentiles. But he would have been more at home with Aramaic. The Aramaic swear script is also called the Jewish script, the swear script, or the Assyrian script. 3 stages in the development of this script at Qumran are called the Akkadic script, 250 through 150 BC, the Hasmonean script, which is 150 through 30 BC, and the Herodanian script, 30 BC to 70 AD. Despite the prevalence of the swear script in Hebrew writing, 12 Quran fragments were found written in Paleo-Hebrew script, similar to the original Hebrew script in which most of the Old Testament was written, while several other Quran manuscripts used the swear script for the main body text and the Paleo-Hebrew script for the Namina Shakra or Shaka. C.E. Tov, Textual Criticism of the Hebrew Bible, Minneapolis Fortress Press, 2012. Thank you. I really enjoyed this article. I think it was very thorough. And I mean, I really loved it. So I got this thing going on right now. Hashtag truth only. Bible believers. Truth only. So this was Aramaic, the Bible's third language, posted by Stephen Anderson in Biblical Languages on November the 23rd, 2015, on a Monday. Thank you so much for this article. And I hope this helps some of y'all. And like I said, I also made notes on it, which I said the leather, when I just went over inside speaking of the Hebrew to y'all in chapter 3, when he said the Most High clothed them, Elohim clothed them with the lion claws, and gave him claws. So leather, when you look up the word leather, it's a material made from the skin of an animal by tanning, a similar process. So when the slaves was being whipped and beat with leather, that's my symbolization of the tanning process of beating, that religions and doctrines and different things, breaking all of the law and commandments, you know, forcing them to do those things with the leather belt. And so a garment of sackcloth, worn as a sign of mourning or penance. So sackcloth, clothing, leather, sackcloth. So that's my symbolization of then, you know, going through the crucifixion, my grandmother's, my nations, getting whipped, beat, brought us to the curses where we are now in this generation. And so sackcloth, a very coarse, rough fabric woven from flax or hemp, cotton. So they picked the cotton, and you know the dollar bill got cotton in it, so they picked the cotton and stuff like that. And so example I gave in a sentence is, the oppressors caught her and lettered me black and blue. So when I say the oppressors caught her and lettered me black and blue, so this is my mom's statue. So this is the image of a so-called black woman, American, so-called heavenly sent, heavenly divine created, sent, this mark of memorial about what they done. And so the oppressors caught my grandmother's, or I could say her, which would be for all women as assimilation, you know, in the skin complexion, not just in the skin, but actually of the tribes, and went through the curses and everything, and have the signs on them and everything like that. So the oppressors called them, her, and lettered me black and blue. So you see black, she's covered in blue. Like I said, the ocean going across the sea, the Red Sea, the blood, the bloodshed, the things they've done. And so now I'm labeled black and I'm blue. So now I'm turned into a white man with blue eyes, Caucasian hair. So that's the image of Jesus Christ now. So, right. So I made them little notes, so if you want to go check that out, guys. So yeah, I'll put this under the video so y'all know. So we went over the sackcloth, which means a very coarse, rough fabric wood in a hemp cotton. Made them pick cotton with that leather that I just told y'all about, that leather. And so it's a garment of sackcloth worn as a sign of mourning. So I am a sign of mourning. I'm in sackcloth. That's my garment. All right. Oh, we already at 59 minutes, so I don't want to go too fast, so I would be like quick faster. So I want to kind of spread this out for y'all, at least almost 3 hours, because they give me up to 3 on each one I can record, because I don't know. I try to give it my all when I approach y'all, because I don't know when the last time I will or able to, or things come up. So I give it my all when I do come here to get as much information out to y'all as possible. All right, and so we're going to go over, this is in the Barashik Genesis, which is chapter 28, the Prashah, Dadak, and the Vayaraksh. All right, so, or some people say Vayarak. So the Tanakh only, the Torah Bible. And so I printed this out, which is, and Isaac called Jacob and blessed him. And he commanded him and said to him, Ye shall not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Padan Aram, which is of Shem. You see, Aram, the son of Shem, to the house of Bethel, your mother's father, and take yourself from there a wife of the daughters of Laman, your mother's brother. And may the Almighty Elohim bless you and make you fruitful and multiply you, and you shall become an assembly of peoples. And may he give you the blessing of Abraham to you and to your seed with you, and that you may inherit the land of your sojournings, which Elohim gave to Abraham. And Isaac sent Jacob, and he went to Padan and Aram, to Laban, the son of Bethuel, the Aramean, the brother of Rebekah, the mother of Jacob and Esau. So what do that say in verse 5, chapter 8, verse 5? Isaac told Jacob, now I'm going to explain Esau, I'm sorry, Edom. This is our forefathers' wishes. This was predestined, and this is what things get kind of hectic because we can't lie about it. It's in scriptures. So this is, very well true. So don't hide. But in chapter 28, 5th, this is why God, Elohim, was pleased. And Jacob obeyed his father, which was Isaac, okay? Which is your father as well. And he sent them to Padan Aram, which we just read about. Shem, we went over the language of Aramaic, Hebrew, what we spoke, where we're from. And so Aaron is the son of Shem. Okay, still his line. None of his sons got cursed with anything. Was nothing even, put on them. They were all walking uprightly, keeping a language, culture, heritage. To Laban, okay? That's going to come back in and play, I think, with Mother Leah and Rachel. The son of Bethuel, the Arabian, not Arabian, the Aramean. You see how Ishmael is going right along on the opposition because they're Aramaic. I mean, not Aramaic. They're Arab. They're not Aramaic. That's the cut split off. Like I said, every line got a strong divide and a splitting off because he's been working with one covenant, one bloodline from the beginning regardless. And the scriptures are written perfectly like that when you go do your outside studies and different things and find certain things to go along with why Elohim said this, why she said that, or why he said that, why he moved like that, why she moved like that. And the brother of Rebekah, which Laman was the brother of Rebekah, the mother of both Jacob and Esau. And Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Bendan, Aram, to take himself a wife from there. And that when he blessed him, he commanded him, saying, You should not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And Jacob listened to his father and his mother, and he went to Padan Aram, which we'll just say the land of Shem, son of Shem, which I put a little thing, son of Shem. Okay. So Jacob first was obedient to both of his parents, and he took his wife. Okay. And then also, this shows that Isaac knew exactly the direction where to point his son to go take Mother Leah and where to go to keep the bloodline. Also, because I always said, which this is how Elohim worked, through the bloodline, the heritages, and the spirit. Okay? That is considered a marriage covenant. So, why did he go tell him direct? So don't tell me that God doesn't say bloodline or covenant or spirit do not matter or is done away with, or we should have worried about that part to see No, we're going to have to all worry about that. And we come to this because we need to know where we come from. Everybody need to know where they at, where they come from, and why God is mad at certain people, and certain people can't enter the congregation, or why certain things happen on earth, and why the last generation, me, including me, sitting here today to tell you what happened. Okay? Or why our present situation is like it is. Okay? Why everybody is where they're supposed to be, and where everybody got blessed with what they're supposed to got blessed with. The kingdom goes to who it should go to and who it will go to. And just we getting all to these resolutions right now, okay? And so, again, so Jacob did listen. So you remember his first wife, we finna get into this, was Mother Leah, right? So she had to have the blood or the covenant of the beginning creation. Like I said, from the beginning, he's been working with one specific group. Even before the law of Moses, before the Sinai, before the Israelites of that knew who they came from. Okay? When we didn't even know and was asleep and falling asleep and was under things, and we didn't even know who we was before we woke up, that's the same concept. But that did not make us not his. For that's why we're here, and we woke up and was chosen, and we got to because obviously we were that, or he chose to wake up, we were of the seed. Not saying all of them woke up for just the promises. Some woke up to get judgment, for the whole world probably be awake. Who knows before this all said and done. But anyway, so we see that Jacob listened to his father and his mother, and he went to the Padan Aram, which is the son of Shem. And Esau saw that the daughters of Canaan was displeasing to his father Isaac. Then I think he realized that. Who knows? Or did he already know? He just was rebellious and wanted to do it anyway. So Esau went to Ishmael. And this is a symbolization when you remember Joseph's brothers selling him. Judah stepped in, but the other brothers conspire with Ishmael to sell him in slavery in Egypt. So just putting that in mind as we're going through this one as well. So Esau went to Ishmael, and he took Mahethah, the daughter of Ishmael, the son of Abraham, the sister of Nebaioth, in addition to his other wives as wives. So we see Esau was a polygamist. Okay. Which we see Jacob end up having kids with 4 different women as well. Just like Ishmael took the daughter of Ishmael, the son of Dan, and then additional other wives. And Jacob left Beersheba, and he went to Haran. And he arrived at the place and lodged there, because of the sun had set. And he took some of the stones of the place and placed them at his head, and he lay down in that place. And he dreamed, and behold, a ladder set up on the ground, and its tops reached to heaven. And behold, angels of God were ascending and descending upon it. And behold, the Elohim was standing over him. And he said, I am that I am, the God of Abraham your father, and the God of Isaac. The land upon which you are lying, to you I will give it, and to your seed. And this also said that Isaac, his biological father, the Most High came to him. And that means, like I told y'all in the previous videos, if y'all watched on my channel, that the Most High knew specifically the law of the land where he was sending him at. Okay? This was not all a coincidence or a mistake in the Most High, because he didn't know, and he did not repent for this. It was not no mistake. It was nothing to be said. He knew before went in there. Okay? And your seed shall be as the dust of the earth, and you shall gain strength westward and eastward and northward and southward. And through you shall be blessed all the families of the earth through your seed. Now, don't this sound like the same thing he told Abraham with Mother Sarah? Just saying. And behold, I am with you, and I will guard you wherever you go, and I restore you to this land, for I would not forsake you until I have done what I have spoken concerning you. And Jacob awakened from his sleep, and he said, indeed, the Elohim, he is in this place, and I did not know it. And he was frightened, and he said, how amazing is this place. This is none other than the house of Elohim, thy God, and this is the gate of heaven. And Jacob arose early in the morning, and he took the stone that he had placed at his head, and he set it up as a memorial, and he poured oil on top of it. And he named the place Bethel. But Liz was originally the name of the city, Luz. And Jacob uttered a vow, saying, if God would be with me, and he will guard me on this way upon which I am going, and he will give me bread to eat and a garment to wear. And if I return in peace to my father's house, and the Elohim will be my God, then this stone which I have placed as a memorial shall be the house of Elohim, and everything that you give me I will surely tithe to you. And that was Genesis and the Bereshit, Genesis chapter 28, the Torah, 1 through 22. And y'all need to start being more patient with me. Y'all be trying to discredit and do things when I'm on the same path. I know what you're talking about. Y'all don't have enough patience with me to let me do things in order and structure. It takes patience and time. And so now we're going to look at the Strong's Hebrew 38:12, Leah, Riri, first wife of Jacob. Original word, part of speech, proper noun is feminine, transliteration Leah. Phoenician spelling is Leahah. Riri, wife of Jacob. Okay, so she was the elder daughter of Laman. The elder daughter of Laman. We just read about Laman, where the Most High told him, intercede on his way to a vision to go get his wives and make a plan for him. And this also was going to be through a savior through this line as well in the covenant. Okay. Alright, so compared to Assyrian in sense, mistress, or possibly relation. Mother of Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Juba, Issachar, Zebulun, and Dinah. Okay. And so, just gave y'all a little bit of that. Let's print this out from my other study guide too. These are just other little things I had to get through. Those studies, the 34 Kokanians. So let's deal with 13 facts that about Leah everyone should know. And this was cited in the Jewish history. We're going to use the YHWH version right now. Alright, so Rachel and Leah, two sisters, two wives, two paths. At first, Leah appears to be negative, weak, and pale. But the more we dig, the more we learn and come to appreciate Leah, the mother of all tribes. Just like Mother Deborah or Barak was like a mother of Israel judging at a time in Canaanite or whatever, Leah was the mother of all 12 tribes to Israel. And Deborah was more of a mother of judgment to Israel. Okay? And so, but she was the birth. She's the spirit woman. She's the birth of the whole nation. At first, Leah appears to be negative, weak, and pale. But the more we dig, the more we learn and come to appreciate Leah, her strength, her quiet inspiration, and her unending devotion. Number one, or fact one, Leah is one of the 4 patriarchs or maternal mothers. Along with Sarah, the wife of Abraham, Rebekah, the wife of Isaac, and Rachel, her sister and fellow wife of Jacob. Leah is one of the 4 mothers of Jews. I don't say Jewish. I say Jews. No, because it's Jews. She was the mother of the 4 mothers. So Leah is one of the 4 mothers of the Jews. Read. Why just 4 mothers? Fact 2. She was the elder daughter of Laban. We are first introduced to Leah and her younger sister Rachel when Jacob comes to Haran in search of a bride. Remember, Elohim just intervened, and now he's continuing the paths, okay? In the words of the scripture, now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the elder was Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Although not clearly spelled out, some say the 2 were actually twins. That's a possibility, like Ebor. Alright, so read. Twins in the Bible. Her mother was Adinah. Scriptures does not tell us the name of Laman's wife, the mother of Rachel and Leah, but tradition tells us that her name was Adinah, which can be translated as refined. Read, who is Adinah? She had soft eyes. The verse tells us that Leah's eyes were soft, but Rachel had beautiful features and a beautiful complexion. What was going on with Leah's eyes? Some say it means that her eyes were beautiful, but according to many, they were tender and sore from crying. Why did she weep? Everyone in her community knew that her aunt, Rebekah, had 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. They naturally assumed that the elder girl Leah would marry the elder boy, Esau. Since Esau was wicked, she cried and begged God to change her fate. Read Esau biography. Wow, this is in the Jewish history. Just reading this. She was Jacob's first wife, but not his first choice. Possibility. As soon as Jacob laid eyes on Rachel, he wished to marry her. However, Laman, the girl's father, was not keen on Leah being overlooked. After Jacob tended Laban's sheep for 7 years for the right to marry Rachel, Laban sneaked Leah under the wedding canopy. The next morning, Jacob found out and undertook to work another 7 years to marry Rachel. With a week interval between the 2 weddings, a week, 7 days, that's 7 days again, Leah thus found herself married to the same man as her sister. Read, how could Jacob marry 2 sisters? She had 6 sons and 1 daughter. God saw that Leah was despised, and he opened her womb, but Rachel was barren. Leah was blessed with 4 sons in a row: Reuben, Shimon, Levi, Judah. Rachel's maid bore 2 sons, Dan and Naphtali. Leah's maid gave birth to 2 sons, Gad and Asher. And Leah then had 2 more sons, Issachar and Zabulon, and fell pregnant yet again, knowing prophetically that only 12 sons were to. You see how crazy this is? Hold on. Sorry, resuming. I'm going to read the Bible, our King James versions in a minute, but this was just printed out. This is what they're saying. to be born to Jacob, Leah recognized that if she would have a seventh son, there would be just one son left for her sister to bear. Even further than the maids, she prayed to God, and her fetus turned out to be a girl, whom she named Dinah. Rachel subsequently gave birth to Joseph and Benjamin, bringing the number of 12 up to 12. Tribes up to 12. Fact 7. Leah is a paragon of gratitude. There is no doubt that Leah lived a hard life and had every reason to become bitter, yet the sages of the Talmud see her as a shining example of gratitude, in the words of Rabbi Yakan. From the day God created the world, no one thanked him until Leah expressed her gratitude. We thus read, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son. And she said, this time I will give thanks to God, and he was called Judah. Okay, I guess this is where y'all get y'all Judaism title from, which we went over that. Zohar, Jacob's love for her was hidden. Scripture says that Jacob hated Leah, but very few understand this literally. For example, Rabbi David Kashish explains that it simply means that his love for her was less than his love for Rachel, and is therefore called hate by contrast. I can agree with that perception of what you're saying with the cause and effect, because every action has a cause and effect. The Zohar coaches the dynamics between Jacob, Rachel, and Leah in Kabbalistic terms, explaining that Jacob did not actually hate Leah. Rather, her spiritual source was so lofty that he could not relate to it, and his love for her was hidden and not expressed in the same way that he loved Rachel. She is the mother of royalty and the priestly claim. How does the Zohar know that Leah was not actually hated? It's very simple. There is a rabbinic principle that children born out of hate tend to turn out less than stellar. Yet all the good sons came from Leah, indicating that she could not have been hated as one may think. Indeed, her son Levi was the progenitor of the priestly clan, and from Judah came the royal David dynasty. Read, who are the Levites. 10. She gave her handmaiden to her husband. When Rachel saw Leah having sons while she remained barren, she gave her handmaid to her husband, hoping that the deed would cause God to bless her with sons of her own. Leah then did the same, and God blessed her with 2 more sons. Why? Because she desired and was seeking means to increase the number of tribes. Read 12 tribes of Israel. She is buried beside her husband. Fact 11. Unlike Rachel, whose death and subsequently roadside burial are described in scriptures, we are not told anything about Leah's passing. Why is that? All we know is that Jacob tells his sons that he had buried her in the cave of Mishpatha, and asks them to ensure that he will be buried there as well. There is an element of poetic justice here. In their single days, Rachel was comfortable at home, while Leah tearfully took the crossroads, begging for the word that Esau had repented. In death, Leah is comfortably in quants next to their husband, while Rachel is forever weeping for her lost and scattered children. Rachel weeps for her children. Oh, Mom, hold on. All right, guys, resuming at 10:52 p.m. on this April 15th, 2021 on the Gregorian calendar. So we're going to say Rachel weeps for her children. She is associated with the thought based on the Zaphor teachings. Explain that Leah's soul stemmed from the world of thought, while Rachel's soul came from the world of speech. Why Jacob loved Rachel but married Leah first. Why Jacob loved Rachel but married Leah first. Her name means tired. The meaning of Rachel is straightforward. It means eh. But what does Leah mean? It is associated with the Hebrew word fatigue or being worn out. This makes sense when one considers that our thoughts are a continuous torrent, never pushing even for a moment. And perhaps this is something we can take from Leah. Even when we are tired, the underdog, in the impossible situation, we can express our gratitude, hope, faith, and prayerful wish for a better tomorrow. Okay. So now let me get into the Bible. Where is my Bible at? So I'm going to read Genesis chapter 8 out of my King James Bible, my Nelson edition. Okay, Genesis 28 chapter. And Isaac called Jacob blessed him and charged him and said unto him, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. Arise, go to Panaram, to the house of Bethuel, thy mother's father, and take thee a wife from thence of the daughters of Laban, thy mother's brother. And God Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a magnitude of people. And give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee, and to thy seed with thee, and thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which God gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Panaram, unto Laman, son of Bethuel the Syrian, and brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. Okay, let's see, that's Jacob and Esau's mother. Alright, so this is why the Semitic line is in, when Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob, and he sent him away to Padan-aram, to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, Thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan. And that Jacob obeyed his father and his mother. Okay, and was gone to Padan-aram. And Esau, seeing that the daughters of Canaan pleased not Isaac his father, then went Esau unto Ishmael, and took unto the wives which he had Mahethah, the daughter of Ishmael, Abraham's son, the sister of Nabathah, to be his wife. Then you have the dream, and then Jacob labors and all that. So we just read that, but I'm gonna keep it open because I'm gonna do some more. So I titled this lesson. I wrote my things. I always get my lessons prepared, write it down, get my thoughts in order and different things before I bring forth. So, the Prologue, the wisdom of Christ, Mother Leah's covenant. This is our weekly Sabbath or Sabbath. And so this is presentation 8, the foundation of the gospel. And so we already went over the speech, which I'm going to put this in the video description, the chapter 8. The chapter 3, Genesis chapter 3, what we just, went over. I spoke and everything like that. So look that on the video description of this video. But okay, so the foundations of the gospel, Leahah, which is L-A-A-H. That's why I put another A-H after her name in my bloodline video, where my origins and everything come from, which is the origin, which is feminine, Riri, the first wife of Jacob, an elder daughter of Laban and wife of Jacob. So we knew she was from Semitic roots as well. Inheritors and things like that, and fruitful and multiply as well. So as we journey back in the past tense to understand our present condition, first let's acknowledge the mistakes. The Torah, parentheses, law, came from Jerusalem, and we know it is a delight to those who are seeking to know Elohim, thy God. I heard many debating and wavering of faith on, is the law done away with, and how does it play a part in our salvation? The book of Leviticus is the path of the heavenly tabernacle covering the children of Israel, called the law of Moses, to guide them in everyday activities in the land. As you know, a man's writing and speech differs from a woman's writing and speech. So, the 10 Commandments is the heavenly tabernacle. That's always been it. You know what I'm saying? That's always been for guidance and things like that. So when you see Moses in Exodus saying, thou shalt not kill adultery, all those things, and I already went over this through my pictographs, how you see that it relates, because when a man, like if I say, don't make any grave images from sea animals to this, and when I go in detail, and then my brother can be there and say, hey, okay, I'm just keep it simple, thou shalt not worship graven image, no the gods. Men are just straight detail, say that, and as far as a woman may go, give the expression and the wisdom and say, but sometimes men are better at going into the detail, or they can be better at shortening it, and a woman can be better at just expressing it fully in more details. But overall, it could be some of the same similarities. So the 10 Commandments are her morals, okay, and the principles of the foundation. All right. So, the 10 Commandments are like the Torah, I would say. No, it would be the foundation. I'm just going to add this here so I'll make sure. Would be the principles, which is the foundation, and the moral code would be the Torah, which would be the inward parts, which Jeremiah, we can go to Jeremiah 31. 31. Jeremiah 31. Israel is restored. 31. All right. You know what? I think I want to start at Judah is restored. So I'm going to go to Jeremiah 31:22. So it says, Judah is restored. How long wilt thou go about, O thou backsliding daughter? For the Most High has created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall compass a man. Thou said the Most High of the hosts, the God of Israel. As yet they shall use this speech in the land of Judah, and in the cities thereof, where I shall bring again their captivity. The Elohim bless thee, O habitations of justice and mountains of holiness. And there shall dwell in Judah itself, and in all the cities thereof together, husbandmen, and they that go forth with flocks. For I have satisfied or sated the weary soul, and I have replenished every sorrowful soul. Upon this I awake and beheld, and my sleep was sleep unto me. Behold, the days come, and the Elohim thy God, that I will sow the house of Israel and the house of Judah with the seed of man and with the seed of beast. And it shall come to pass that like as I have watched over them, to pluck up and to break down and to throw down and to destroy and to afflict, so will I watch over them to build and to plant, says the Most High. In those days thou shalt say no more, the fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge. But every one shall die for his own iniquity. Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge. Behold, the days come, said the Most High, thy Elohim, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah, not according to the covenant that I made with their fathers in that day. I took them by the hand to bring them out of the land of Egypt, which my covenant they break, although I was an husband unto them, said Elohim. But this shall be the covenant that I will make with the house of Israel after those days, said the Most High. I will put my law in their inward parts and write it in their hearts, and will be their God, and they shall be my people. And they shall teach no more every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, Know the Most High Elohim, for they shall all know me, from the least of them unto the greatest of them, said the Most High Elohim. For I will forgive their iniquity, and I will remember their sin no more. It sound like when Christ said, they will know me from the least and greatest in the kingdom, when he said those words. Thou said the Elohim, which giveth the sun for a light by day, and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divideth the sea when the waves thereof roar. The Most High of hosts is his name. If thou or thous or those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Elohim, then the seed of Israel also shall cease from being a nation before me forever. So he's saying, if you can get away with all this, if you can get away with the sun for the light by day and the ordinance of the moon and of the stars for a light by night, which divided the sea when the waves thereof were. The Elohim of hosts is his name, Yahuwah. If thou or those ordinances depart from before me, saith the Elohim, then the seed of Israel also shall cease. So saying, well, if these things, if you can just get away with the stars, the moon, the sun, if y'all can destroy that and get away with creation, then thou cease Israel from being a nation. Well, we know that can't happen. So thou said, Elohim, if heaven above can be measured, and the fountains of the earth searched out beneath, I would also cast off all the seed of Israel for all that they have done, said the Most High. Behold, the days come, said the Most High, that the city shall be built to Elohim from the tower of Hananel unto the gate of the corner. And the measuring line shall yet go forth over against it upon the hill of Gareb, and shall compass about the Goed, and the whole valley of the dead bodies, and of the ashes, and all the fields unto the brook of Kentron, or Kenron, unto the corner of the horse gate toward the east, shall be holy unto Elohim thy God. It shall not pluck up nor thrown down any more forever. So Jeremiah 31, 22, verses 22 through 40. Okay. And so she, feminine, is also the moral standard. So that's the moral standard of the Torah, the 10 Commandments inward. All right. And so the moral standard can be used to measure and build the temple, which is Elohim masculine. The appeal of Jerusalem. Their heart cried unto ELO-HIM, which is masculine. O wall of the daughter of Zion, let tears run down like a river day and night. Give thyself no rest, let not the apple of thy eyes cease. Arise, cry out in the night and in the beginning of the watches. Pour out thy heart like water before the face of the Most High. Lift up thy hands toward him for the life of thy young children, that faint for hunger in the top of every street. Behold the Most High, and consider to whom thou hast done this. Shall the woman eat their fruit, and children of a span long? Shall the priest and the prophet be slain in the sanctuary of the Most High? The young and the old lie on the ground in the streets. My organs, or my virgins, and my young men are falling by the sword. Thou hast slain them in the day of thy anger, and thou hast killed and not pity. Thou hast called as in a solemn day. My terrors round about, so that in the day of the Most High, Most High anger, none escape nor remain. Those that I have swallowed and brought up hath my enemies consumed. Lamentations 2:18-22. And many people shall go and say, Come ye, and let us go up to the mountain of the Most High, to the house of Elohim of Jacob, and he will teach us of his ways, and we will walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of Elohim thy God from Jerusalem. Isaiah 2:3. Now I want to read the reading of Acts 21, the whole chapter. So let's turn to Acts 21. We're going to read the whole chapter. Tyre, Paul is warned about Jerusalem. And it came, and it came to pass that after we were gotten from them and had lunch, we came with a straight course unto Chios, and the day following unto Rhodes, and from thence unto Paara. And finding a ship sailing over unto Phoenicia, we went aboard and set forth. Now when we had discovered Cyprus, we left it on the left hand and sailed into Syria, and landed at Tyre, for there the ship was the unlaid her burden. And finding disciples, we tarried there 7 days, who said to Paul through the Spirit that he should not go up to Jerusalem. And when we had accomplished those days, we departed and went our way, and they all brought us on our way with wives and children, till we were out of the city. And we kneeled down on the shore and prayed. And when we had taken our leave one of another, we took ship, and they returned home again. And so this is Caesarea, or Abba's prediction, or prediction. And when we had finished our course from Tyre, we come to the Ptolemais, and saluted the brethren, and abide with them 1 day. And the next day we that were of Paul's company departed, and came unto Caesarea. And we entered into the house of Philip the evangelist, which was one of the 7, and abode with him. And the same man had 4 daughters, virgins, which did prophesy. And as we tarried there many days, there came down from Judea a certain prophet named Agabus. And when he was come unto us, he took Paul girdle and bound his own hands and feet, and said, Thus saith the Holy Spirit, so shall the Jews at Jerusalem bind the man. The Jews at Jerusalem bind the man that oweth this garter, and shall deliver him into the hands of the Gentiles. And when we heard these things, both we and they of that place besought him not to go up to Jerusalem. Okay. And then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Most High. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, The will of the Most High will be done. And after those days we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Matthias son of Cyrus, an old disciple with whom we should lodge. Paul conforms to Jewish customs. So in the first one it said that because we know he was a Hebrew, and we know Hebrews knew his name. His name wasn't Jesus in Hebrew. Everybody knows that. So when it says, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of the Lord Jesus. Then Paul answered, What mean ye to weep and to break my heart? For I am ready not to be bound only, but also to die at Jerusalem for the name of Lord Jesus. And when he would not be persuaded, we ceased, saying, The will of ELO-HIM be done. And after those days we took up our carriages and went up to Jerusalem. There went with us also certain of the disciples of Caesarea, and brought with them one Matthias son of Cyprus, an old disciple with whom we should lodge. Okay. And so Paul conforms to Jewish customs. And when we were come to Jerusalem, the brethren received us gladly. And the day following, Paul went in with us unto James, and all the elders were present. And when he had saluted them, he declared particularly what things God had wrought among the Gentiles by his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified the Elohim, and said unto him, Thou seest, brother, how many thousands of Jews there are which believe, and they are all zealous of the law. And they are informed of thee, and that thou teachest all the Jews which are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, saying that thou ought not to circumcise their children, neither to walk after the customs. What is it therefore? The magnitude must needs come together, for they will hear that thou art come. Do therefore this that we say to thee. We have 4 men which have a vow on them. Them take and purify themselves with them, and be at charges with them, that they may shave their heads, and all may know that those things whereof that were informed concerning thee are nothing, but thou thyself also walkest orderly, and keepest the law. As touching the Gentiles which believe, we have written and concluded that they observe no such thing, save only that they keep themselves from things offered to idols, and from blood, and from strangle, and from fornication. Then Paul took the men, and the next day, purifying himself, with them entered into the temple, to signify the accomplishment of the days of purification, unto that and to that an offering should be offered for every one of them. Paul's arrest. And when the 7 days were almost ended, the Jews which were of Asia, when they saw him in the temple, stirred up all the people and laid hands on him, crying out, Men of Israel, help! This is the man that teacheth all men everywhere against the people. And the law in this place, and further brought Greeks also into the temple, and had polluted his holy place, or this holy place, for they had seen before with him in the city of Trophimus and Ephesian, whom they supposed that Paul had brought into the temple. And all the city was moved, and the people ran together, and they took Paul and drew him out of the temple, and forthwith the doors were shut. And as they went about to kill him, tidings came unto the chief captain of the band, and that all Jerusalem was in an uproar, who immediately took soldiers and centurions and ran down unto them. And when they saw the chief captain and the soldiers, they left beating of Paul. Then the chief captain came near and took him, and commanded him to be bound with 2 chains, and demanded who was, and what he had done. And some cried one thing, some another, among the multitude. And when he could not know the certainty for the tumult, he commanded him to be carried into the castle. And when he came upon the stairs, so it was that he was borne of the soldiers for the violence of thy people. For the multitude of the people followed after, crying, away with him. And as Paul was to be led into the castle, he said unto the chief captain, May I speak unto thee? Who said, Canst thou speak Greek? Art not thou that Egyptian which before these days madest an uproar, and leddest out into the wilderness 4,000 men that were murderers? But Paul said, I am a man which am a Jew of Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, a citizen of no mean city, and I beseech thee, suffer me to speak unto my people. Paul's defense before the crowd. And when he had given him lessons, Paul stood on the stairs, and back him with the hand unto the people. And when there was made a great silence, he spake unto them in Hebrew tongue, saying, I'm going to go to chapter 22, just a brief. Men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he said, I am verily a man which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Scythia, yet brought up to this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward God, as ye all are this day. And I persecuted this way unto the death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women. As also the high priest doeth bear me witness, and all of the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus, to bring them which were the bound unto Jerusalem, for it to be punished. And it came to pass that as I made my journey, and was gone nigh into Damascus, about noon, suddenly there shone from heaven a great light round about me. And I fell unto the ground, and heard a voice saying unto me, Saul, Saul, why persecutest thou me? And I answered, Who art thou, Lord? And he said unto me, I am Yeshua, I am Yehoshua of Nazareth, whom thou persecutest. And they that were with me saw indeed the light and were afraid, but they heard not the voice of him that spoke to me. And I said, what shall I do, Elohim? And the Elohim said unto me, arise and go into Damascus, and there it shall be told thee of all things which are appointed for thee to do. And so that was powerful. If y'all want to, y'all can finish reading the Acts 22, the rest of the version. But I just read a little bit of Acts 22, just 1 through 10, in the whole chapter of Acts, chapter 21. Okay, and so with my next. So the law of Moses, what they call he, Elohim, overshadows her, Elohim. The Most High never required blood shedding of innocent souls or spiritually enslavement of souls in the earth. I absolutely agree with it. For we know many are hiding and concealing their sin. The new sacrifice, Hebrews 9:12-28. So I'm going to be, this is like, now I'm doing like my reading of Psalms or poems, which y'all bad on the other level say y'all what, reading Torah cards. What the Torah cards? What spiritual is that giving people? What do you get? That ain't the word. This is true poems, Psalms reading, or whatever you want to call it. So we're going to go to, I'm going to take a break after this. Oh my God, I'm at 1 hour and 57 minutes. So we're doing good because I only did like, I got about 2 more pages. So I always do my rough drafts, my writing, putting my precepts or putting the things in order to construct the little meshes for the evening, because we know that Hebrew was a pictographic type of a language, so it's very art, it's very artistic, it's creative. So when I'm doing like my little poem themes, I do like a reading chapter, and then I can formulate it in a picture with the words of other precepts to give y'all kind of the understanding, and that be like a message for the day, like they would say a verse of the day on their phones, or people on their articles that do verses of day. So it's just my little way of doing it, to make it, in my own unique way, because I'm Hebrew. And so my creativity has always been with me, but I'm glad that they're increasing more and more, and letting me allow to get back more inside of my my roots. So it's a wonderful thing. So Hebrews 9, chapter 9, 12-28 would be more of my poem reading for today, to give the body some inspiration, some love, some cares, my quote-unquote, my higher verse of the day. So the Old Covenant the Old Covenant sanctuary. So then, verily, the first covenant had also ordainings of divine service, and a worldly sanctuary, or sanctuary. For there was a tabernacle made, the first wherein was the candlestick, and the table, and the shewbread, which is called the sanctuary. And after the second veil, the tabernacle, which is called the holiest of all, which had the golden ciar and the ark of the covenant, over laid round about with gold, wherein was the golden pot that had manna, and Aaron's rod that budded, and the tables of the covenant. And over it is the cherubims of glory, shadowing the mercy seat, of which we cannot now speak particularly. Okay. All right. And so, Old Covenant sacrifice. Now when these things were thus ordained, the priests went always into the first tabernacle, accomplishing the service of God. But into the second went the high priest alone, once every year, not without blood, which he offered for himself and for the errors of the people. The Holy Spirit is sanctifying or signifying that the way into the holiest of all was not yet made manifest, while as the first tabernacle was yet standing, which was a figure for the time then present, in which were offered both gifts and sacrifices, that could not make him that did the service perfect as pertaining to the conscience, which stood only in meats and drinks and divers washing and corner ordinance imposed on them until the time of Reformation, the new covenant sanctuary. But Christ, being come as high priest of good things to come, by a greater, more perfect tabernacle, not made with hands, this is to say, not of this building. And so the new covenant sacrifice. And so I'm going to stop here and I'm going to read my notes. So, for the law having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which they offer year by year continually make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered? Because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sins. Hebrew 10, 1-2. For when Moses had spoken every precept to all the people according to the law, he took the blood of cows and of goats with water and scarlet wool and hyssop, and sprinkling both the book and all the people, saying, This is the blood of the New Testament, which Elohim has enjoined unto you. Moreover, he sprinkled with blood both the tabernacle and all the vessels of the ministry. And that's Hebrew 9, 19-21. The precept is Leviticus 17:11. And so I'm going to finish reading. I'll just read the whole new covenant sacrifice, which I just put in the middle, but I'll read the whole one. So the new covenant sacrifice, the whole summary now. Neither by the blood of goats and calves, but by his own blood he entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for all. For if the blood of bulls, of goats, and the ashes of an heifer sprinkling the unclean sanctified to the appearing of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the external Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serve the living God? And for this cause he is the mediator of the New Testament, that by means of death, for the redemption of the transgression that were under the first testament, they which are called might receive the promises or external inheritance. For where a testament is, there must also of necessity be the death of the tester. For a testament is of force offered or after men are dead, otherwise it is of no strength at all while the tester liveth. Whereupon neither the first testament was dedicated without blood, for when Moses had spoke every precept to all the people, which I just went over that, so we're going to pick up at verse 24. Okay, in Hebrews chapter 9. For Christ is not entered into the holy places made with hands, which are the figures of the truth, but into heaven himself, now to appear in the presence of Elohim for us. Nor yet that he should offer himself often, as the high priest entered into the holy place every year with the blood of others. For then must he often have suffered since the foundation of the world. But now once in the end of the world hath he appeared to put away sin by sacrifice of himself. And as it is appointed unto men once to die, but after this the judgment. So Christ was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that looked for him shall he appear the second time without sin unto salvation. And so we're going to chapter 10. I'm going to say just Hebrews chapter 10, 1 through 2. For the law, having a shadow of good things to come, and not the very image of the things, can never with those sacrifices which thou offer year by year continuing, make the comers thereunto perfect. For then would they not have ceased to be offered, because that the worshippers once purged should have had no more conscience of sin. All right. And so, in this allegoric metaphor of operation, I am giving a picture of surgery on the mind, heart, and soul to purge sin from within you. We need truth and grace. We need love and fear. Motion and ocean, or motion and order, equals perfected law. Okay. And so I'm going to take a break. I'm at 2 hours and 6 minutes. And I know it had been like, probably 40 more minutes ago or something like that, or 30 minutes ago, where I was not able to, took a break, but I wasn't able to do something that I had on mind I'm going to do right quick. But, oh my gosh, I'm loving it. I just can't wait to on the Sabbath when I'm laying back watching the videos, or maybe, entertain or watch maybe one of the brothers and sisters that are in meekness and truth. But overall, I can't wait to sit back and watch my own Sabbath to get me some inspiration as well. So it's also helped me. Like, I'm teaching myself, I'm learning myself. It's just like, and I'm just allowing y'all as viewers in the world to take what you can take off of it, and just observe me, or get to know me. But also it's more so with me loving to teach and learn and perfect myself and do things and give the truth, and also help the body and help them get to that spot too, because I'm not selfish. Don't mind spreading my spirit if it helps a lot. But anyway, I'm going to take me a break. I'll be back in a minute, and we'll resume for the last closing of the summary of this Sabbath lesson. All right, resuming. I got one more page. I'm kind of going to go maybe a little bit faster because I'm getting kind of tired. I got some more things I got to do, but I'm going to just end this of the conclusion of the summary, which is the first commandment is important because it shows God our love for his Torah, which is her feminine Torah, which we just went over that we recognize the importance and delight in her ways of cleanliness and order. The Torah was not done away with, but cleansed for perfection, to be his daily delight from the beginning. That the trial of your faith, being much more precious than of gold, that perish though it be tried with fire, may be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yeshua, which is 1 Peter 1:7. Okay. And so that's basically the plans, the new covenant sacrifice. So Moses' parents. By faith, Moses, when he was born or came to years, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to suffer affliction with his sister, brother, and the children of Israel, than to enjoy the pleasures of sin for a season, esteeming the reproach of Christ greater riches than the treasure of Egypt, for he respect unto the recompense of the reward. By faith he was sucked he forsook Egypt, not fearing the wrath of the king, for he endured as seeing him who is invincible. Through faith he kept the Passover and the sprinkling of blood, lest he that destroyed the firstborn should touch them. By faith they passed through the Red Sea, as by dry land, which the Egyptians assaying to do were drowned. Hebrews 11:24-29. And then we see Isaac, which by faith Isaac blessed Jacob and Esau concerning things to come, which we just went over that. Hebrews 11:20. And so many other heroes of faith. So we're going to read that brief little thing of many Hebrews of faith. And what shall I more say? For the time would fail me to tell of Goshen or Geshem, and of Barak, and of Samson, and of Jotham, and of David also, and Samuel, and of the prophets, who through faith subdued kingdoms, wrought righteousness, obtained promises, stopped the mouths of lions, quenched the violence of fire, escaped the edge of the sword, out of weakness were made strong, waxed vigilant in fight, turned to flight the enemies or the armies of the aliens. Women received their dead raised to life again, and others were tortured, not accepting the deliverance that they may obtain a better resurrection. And others had trials of cruel mockings and scourgings, yea, moreover, of bonds and imprisonment. They were stoned, they were sawed asunder, were tempted, they were slain with the sword. They was rendered about in sheepskins and goatskins, being destitute and afflicted, tormented, of whom the world was not worthy. They wandered in the deserts and in mountains and in dens and caves of the earth. And these all, having obtained a good report through faith, received not the promise, God having provided some better things for us, that they without us should not be made perfect. Right? So, example of Christ's endurance, Hebrews 12. I'm going to read 1-4. Wherefore, seeing we compassed about with so great a cloud of witnesses, let us lay aside every weight and the sin which doeth so easily beset us, and let us run with patience the race that is set before us, looking unto Christ, the author and the finisher of our faith, who for the joy that was set before him endured the cross, despising the shame, and is set down at the right hand of the throne of God. For consider him that endures such contradiction of sinners against himself, lest ye be weary and faint in your minds. Ye have not yet resisted unto blood, striving against sin. Hebrews 12, 1-4. So we see a little bit more heroes of faith. Faith, and he literally meant that can move the mustard seed, can move mountains, can move things. So, conclusion of the subject. The third book of Moses, called Leviticus. Leviticus is God's guide book for his newly redeemed people. So again, the Torah law, new covenant, is in our inward parts, the 10 commandments, the principles and the foundation, okay, is Leviticus, the cleanliness, the order, her tabernacle, her temple. So as we're using temple now as our body, our physical temple, our spirit living has to be cleansed. We have to follow certain instructions, certain things pertaining to that, especially for women and men. It's got good things in there to stay away from, because we know that the Torah is spiritual. So if we're spiritual and we're walking with the Torah in our mind and our heart, and that's the new covenant, we have those 10 commandments. We are literally being a self-sacrifice. So now we become the form. Now we are to sacrifice unto the Most High daily. And so that's what our brother Yeshua was telling us. So now we don't have to literally go get animals, or the Most High don't have to go cut an animal. We don't have to do none of those things. The thing is, we have to just follow the guideline of the principles, which is the Torah, which inside the Torah is the 10 Commandments in our heart and mind. And we are going to be what? Chiefs. First fruits we're bringing forth, because only the Spirit in the beginning, she sowing, she's making herbages. So when you understand the physical sense of planting, then how we create, how we have children. So when you understand more of the physical sense, you start to understand that, oh, the law is spiritual. Yes, in order to actually fulfill it in physical and manifest it in flesh, you have to understand the spiritual essence of why those cleanliness, the orderliness, all those things still matter and have always mattered, contrary to any of the popular beliefs and religions that teach that. But you see how this really could have helped our people if you just simply taught the Old Testament. Because we know when Yeshua came to earth, there was no such thing as a New Testament. He referred back to Old Testament. And Isaiah was the first book. I agree. Yes. So he taught and he spoke in his Aramaic language, Hebrew. And the reason why, like we went over, he spoke in Aramaic because his mother was a Creole Aramaic woman. So, of course, she was raising him, and stuff. So he would have had more his mother tongue. But overall, Hebrew, he could speak Hebrew. He is of Hebrew, his father. So I went over the history of that. So they had some good pinpoints. That was a good, thorough thing. And it kind of helped y'all, because I know some people was wavering. They don't know, and they couldn't differentiate too. And I know some of y'all really want to know, but y'all really haven't got into those other parts, or so this will help y'all along the way, so y'all can know when you're coming across false teaching, false prophet that really haven't really took a look to put things in perspective of order. And some people didn't even know Hebrew came with a pictographic language. So when you're deaf and you don't have your ears, how would you teach someone? You would have to teach them through a pictographic way, okay? And so they could read, they could probably read the language, and they could see the language, and they could see the pictograph, and that's how they got the concept of the gospel. And that's how some disabled people, he was able to heal, let the blind see. All these words he said were spiritual. That's why he said they are spirit, they are life. Because when you're spiritual and that's life, then you see the whole picture clearer. And now you're able to walk in that heavenly way, and you're able to attain and grow. And you're able to plant good seeds out there when you speak, when you talk. You'll be able to give people more enlightenment, things like that. So that's why the covenant of the Spirit matters, and that's why it always mattered, and that's why marriage was always spirit, bloodline, heritage, nation. So we went over those things, and that's why certain things in the law, like I told you, I had to deal with something that was in Leviticus. And so some of y'all may go in there, y'all can see some of the things you may dealing with or have with experiences, and you never knew why it was in your heart and mind, or why your heart and mind was fighting within itself inside your own body, because it's probably something that you were doing of transgression. So you have to go and see, okay, what am I specifically dealing with, or let me see what I need to work on and things like that. So it really helps. So again, so Leviticus was the heavenly book. Not Exodus was more about judgment, separating, wilderness. But Leviticus is more the heavenly principle of her foundation. So that's more of the foundation of to be holy. So God's guidebook for his newly redeemed people, showing them how to worship, serve, and obey a holy God. Fellowship with God through sacrifice and obedience show the awesome holiness of God of Israel. Indeed, ye shall be holy, for I am Most High, your Elohim, and holy. Leviticus 19:2. Leviticus focused on the worship and walk of the nation of God. In Exodus, Israel was redeemed and established as a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. Leviticus show how God people are to fulfill their priestly calling. The Hebrew title is Ra'agrah, and he called. The Talmud refers to the Leviticus as the law of the priests and the law of the offerings. The Greek title appearing in the Septuagint is Letinkan, that which pertains to the Levites. From this word, the Latin Vulgate derived its name Leviticus, which was an English title. This title is slightly misleading because the book does not deal with the Levites as a whole, but more with the priests, a segment of the Levitical priesthood bloodline. And so, three parts of John. We have John the forerunner, we have John the revelator, and then we have John the apostle. And so if y'all see other books out there of John, like I said, it's good to get all books and try to weigh the words. But overall, there were only 3 parts of John: the forerunner, the revelator, and the apostle. Equality with God in the power, in the authority. So we're going to read John 5:17 through 30. Yep. John 5:17 through 30. I'm having so much fun reading with y'all tonight. So, let me go to 17. Yeah, so, all right. So, equality with God in nature. But Yehoshua answered them, My Father worketh hitherto, and I work. Therefore the Jews sought the more to kill him, because he not only had broken the Sabbath, but said also that God was his Father, and making him so equal with God. Then answered Yahushua, and said unto them, Verily, verily, I say unto you, the Son can do nothing of himself, but what he seeth the Father do it. For what things soever he doeth, these also doeth the Son likewise. For the Father loveth the Son, and showeth him all things that himself doeth. And he will show him greater works than this, that ye may marvel. For as the Father raised up the dead and quicketh them, even so the Son quicketh whom he will. For the Father judgeth no man, but hath committed all judgment unto the Son, that all men should honor the Son, even as they honor the Father. He that honor not the Son, honor not the Father which hath sent him. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that heareth my word, and believed on him that sent me, has everlasting life, and shall not come into condemnation, but is passed from death into life. Verily, verily, I say unto you, the hour is coming, now is, when the dead shall hear the voice of the Son of God, and they that shall hear, or they that hear, shall live. For as the Father has lived in himself, so has he given the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Marvel not at this, for this hour is coming, in the which all that are in the grave shall hear his voice, and shall come forth, they that have done good, unto the resurrection of life, and they that have done evil unto the resurrection of damnation. I came of my own self do nothing. I can of my own self do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is just, because I seek not my own will, but the will of the Father which hath sent me. Okay, so that was one of the last scriptures for now. And so the closing scriptures I'm going to read would be chapter 35 out of our King James Apocrypha, Ecclesiastics. But I wanted to just say this last part. The YHWH, Yahweh God, killed her, feminine. Quotation, I was the child that was sacrificed. Explains that in the introduction of video, my bloodline video 1. As you can see, the curse of Satan in the garden. The Canaanite / Ethiopian women are ham seeds. That's the cutoff of my womb. Speaking symbolically here to my allegorical meaning, being lifted up by Moses in the wilderness. The positive / good side of YHWH is the tree of life. YHVH is TISHERB, which is the Barasheth reverse, which both mean the beginning, but Bashmet mean beginning, and the Tishraba, which is, like I said, the 7-month Semitic roots. Okay, explaining my being, my spirit. And we know that once the harvest, we become, spirit, we become truth, the resurrection and all that. So, means the beginning of her, which the beginning of her removes the curse of Eve. Okay. So, I think I should check that out. It's pretty cool. I can just, right here, you spell Bereshit backwards is that Tay. Then you put it in Google and it's going to take you to the 7-month first year. It's going to say Semitic roots. YHVH. Eva, Ava. A new beginning. It's my little creativity to get y'all to, look at it like that. Alright, so today is the 16th April. Well, now it's 12:09 a.m. So now we done moved into the 12:09 a.m. So it's April 16, 2021 now. Okay. Alright. Alright. Turn to our Apocrypha, K. James Version, chapter 25. He that keepeth the law bringeth offerings enough. He that taketh heed to the commandment offered a peace offering. He that required a good turn offereth fine flour. And he that giveth alms sacrifice praise. To depart from wickedness is a thing pleasing to Elohim, thy God, and to forsake unrighteousness is a propitiation or perpetration. Thou shalt not appear empty before Elohim, thy God, for all these things are to be done because of the commandment. The offering of the righteous maketh the offer fat, and the sweet savour thereof is before the Most High. The sacrifice of a just man is acceptable, and the memorial thereof shall never be forgotten. Give the Elohim his honor with a good eye, and diminish not the first fruits of thy hand. And all thy gifts show a cheerful contentance, and delicate thy tidings with gladness. Give unto the Most High according as he has enriched thee, and as thou hast gotten, give with a cheerful eye. For the Elohim recompense, and will give thee 7 times as much. Do not think to corrupt with gifts, for such he will not receive. And trust not the unrighteousness sacrifices. For the Elohim is judge, and with him is no respect of persons. He would not accept any persons against a poor man, but would hear the prayer of the oppressed. He will not despise the supplication of the fatherless, nor the widow when she poured out her complaint. Do not the tears run down the widow's cheek, and is not her cry against him that causes them to fall? He that serveth the ELO-HYM shall be accepted with favor, and his prayer shall reach unto the clouds. The prayer of the humble pierceth the clouds, until it come now. He will not be comforted, and will not depart till the Most High shall behold to judge righteously and execute judgment. For the ELO-HYM will not be slack, neither will the mighty be patient toward them, till he have smitten in sunder the loins of the unmerciful, and repay vengeance to the heathen, till he has taken away the multitude of the pride, and broken the scepter of the unrighteous, till we have redeemed to every man according to his deeds, and to the works of men according to their devices, till we have judged the cause of his people, made them to rejoice in his mercy. Mercy is seasonable in the time of affliction, as clouds of rain in the time of drought. All right, so that was King James Version's Apocrypha, Ecclesiastes chapter 35. Oh my God, this was a wonderful lesson tonight. I really was noon night. I really enjoy bringing this to y'all. I have been in great spirit for the most part. Been praying for y'all, interceding for y'all, and I'm just happy to be able to witness these things, and I hope that y'all are speaking life for one another, and y'all continue to do the will of the Most High. I'm just glad to be able to address y'all honestly. This makes me a joy to be able to sit and do that. I hope that this lesson edified, clarified, gave y'all some more inspiration, gave y'all some faith to keep going. It's just one of these things that we just have to keep in mind as we go and we walk daily and daily. So it's just that. So don't let the Lucifers, the Satans, these scorpions, snakes, these rats get to y'all. Stay out the air, stay clear back, read your bread, get some nourishment. Be one, try to keep down a lot of confusion, amidst, your household as possible. Also, I wanted to put out, if y'all are congregating between many camps or different ones, just being among your brothers, despite the disagreeing or little slack things y'all have, I ask that y'all don't take anybody's personal information from one camp to another. Do not be gossiping, backbiting, saying bad things, false accusations on one camp to another. When y'all are, maybe want to just one day go to this group and then the next week you want to go, or just you're trying to find your way to what you see best, or just want to be able to congregate with all your brothers equally. But I ask that y'all just please don't, start strife or envy or anything inside the congregation groups as y'all are among each other. And I hope that y'all had a great Passover. I see some of the pictures and different things, and I've liked and loved a couple things, and I like to see the good positivity that's being displayed. My enemies, I love you, and I pray for those who despitefully use me or blaspheme my name or my spirit. We'll just keep on praying, and we'll keep on, seeking the vengeance and praying for the things we should and doing the things of the Most High, so He can answer that and He can come quickly and have visitation, and that we can be free in our reality, so y'all can get back to producing spiritual fruits again, and that we get out the carnal in the flesh, and we make way for the one and only, the true living God. So y'all keep that in mind, brothers and sisters. But I'm going to simply just play one little, I think I did a little small recording earlier when I was kind of venting, so I'll just end it with like one of my little venting kind of my diary little thing, moment I was having before I went up, so I think that'll be something good for you, just a little venting thing I did. So I'm going to end it with that. Today at 6:47 p.m. just to do my next speaking of Genesis, which is the Sarah Baruchah, the book of Genesis. And as you know, now we're on Genesis chapter 3. So tonight, well, in a little while when my daughter take a nap, I'll be beginning to record my Sabbath lesson. Should be like 2 hours with a lot of little information and little different things. And I definitely will play this interpretation and stuff. So I hope y'all tune in. Most High will say the same. It's a lot going on. Kind of just been quiet and just grieving silently. A lot going through my mind, thoughts, things I hear, see, and it's just also I feel. But overall, I am just thankful to be up in the presence of the Most High and able to address and talk to you guys. I thank you for all your prayers, support, and the things that y'all keep dear for us in your heart and your mind of the Most High. I feel like we will get through this, and I know we will. I choose to speak a life for people. I'm not going to speak death or crazy things on people. And so with that being said, all this stuff about people telling everybody else they going to hell, Christians telling Muslims telling Christians, Israelite, Jews, Hebrew, whatever, your nationality, your religion, or choice of belief. I don't think anybody, like he said in Revelations, I got the keys to hell. I am Omega, I'm Alpha, and I'm Omega. So I'm first and I'm last. So I don't think we can all be just judges and weigh out our evidence, get an accurate balance of what we want far as bringing the evidence in the body or bringing it to the people. Yeah, we can do that. But one thing, we must not speak with haughty tones, with boastfulness and prideful, and telling anybody they're going to hell or heaven, to be honest, regardless of how great you think they are or how below you think they are or how ignorant you think they are. So, like I said, I reprove thoughts like that, and I just keep it away from me. For people like that, they only show me they got a sign of fear. They're dealing with unbelief and fear. And that's definitely how Satan works. He only don't got power. Lucifer and her do not have power unless you give them your power. You give them your free will. And if you're walking in fear, you're walking in unbelief. So you don't believe in the power of the Spirit. You don't believe in the Spirit of God. You don't believe nothing can heal you or nothing can come to pass. Or you don't believe in yourself. You don't believe that you are God and created in the image and likeness. So if you don't believe that and you don't walk in that in spirit and truth, not just spirit, but truth as well, according to the word, then you're just being a tool. You're being a tool to destroy others people's faith because you're sitting there full of fear. Full of fear for what? And trying to steal. But that's all them pastors, half majority of them from the centuries and from this worship that has went across the whole, continents. That's all it was about. Fear, fear, fear. Knowing women didn't have the physical strength. That is what these wicked men have used against to keep pursuing their worship and Baal and just want to continue to worship that other side of a spirit of a woman, of idolatry and harlotry, which every woman in their lifetime can be either one of those things, and it affects us all. And I wanted us to know how it affects every last one of you, because if you got a million women over here being heartless or doing those things that please in man's flesh, when they encounter women that are not on that level, then we're going to have a problem. And that's why we got a problem in society from the curse from the beginning. Not even well as that, because people have multiplied and took that free will he gave us to try to get back to them. Instead have took it to farther the gender to stay away and want to keep partaking of good and evil, or just strictly just evil now. And so I think that's the best way to put it. So women don't know how they're affecting other women, even in intentionally by doing those things that we know are contrary to what the walk is and what we're supposed to be partaking of, and how we should be wanting to break that curse, or do better than our grandmothers, or do better than our mothers, our aunties, our sisters over the past centuries. I mean, when are we going to get to the point where we get to the next step and stop talking about it? We need more action, more applying, and coming forth and actually trying to do the word, trying to talk, trying to put things together, trying to speak alignment of word each week, each day, and stop talking about the world. The world gonna do what the world gonna do, like they always done. And the lust thereof, the pride thereof, and everything in it. It's gonna be there. So I'm not here to try to change the world, try to get everybody to be on my side, or be on Christ's side, or be on accept the 10 commandments, or accept the ways of the Most High. In the Torah, in the way, I am here for that. That's what I'm standing on. But in a way, I'm going to let the world be the world, and I'm going to stick on my people and uplifting their spirit and soul and trying to save souls. I ain't got time for what the world got going on and their agendas and their things, because, again, they going to be who they are. But if you're so focused on the negativity and what the world got to say and all the persecution, focusing more on the persecution than you are your own spirit, and putting things in your thoughts to overcome that power of the devil, and stand firm in your face and look it in the eye and say, no, I'm still going to believe, even if you kill me, even if you hear threatening my life, whatever you about, I'm about it too, and go ahead strong on that. And so you cannot be stopped. You cannot be weak in this battle of life. You got to be stronger, because they out. We got scorpions, we got dragons, we got crabs, we got pigs, we got rats, we got some snakes, we got foxes, we got a lot of up in that cup that I see deep down at the bottom, at the depths of the pit. So we don't need no more people on that preaching mode of a Christianity pastor. I'm done with all that. If y'all gonna bring that in truth, y'all may need to go right on back over there where they came from. Because death is coming to all, especially majority of people. Now, I'm not going to say that some have already seen it, because some people are off timing of this thing called resurrection, rapture, or whatever done happened. Off timing with that in the scriptures. Stop. And so I'm here to speak because I'm really weird. I kind of got frustrated a little bit over these past couple of days of some things, making my way toward where I need to. Slowly but surely I am. But it's a process. And it's always strike going on, especially when you're not on the same path. It's gonna be like that. But overall, I'm just here to address y'all to let y'all know that to keep going and have faith. I can't preach that enough. I ain't no preacher, but I can't teach that and instruct that enough for women and men. Regardless, you don't have time to worry about the cares of the world, children, these things that if you gonna continue in that way, it's gonna lead to death. I had to let it go a long time ago. I tell my husband sometimes, we say, well, all you want to do is be in your word, or studying, or quiet, or looking up or doing this, tend to my daughter, do my little thing, because that's me. What else do I have to focus on? I'm not in the flesh. I don't have no cares of the world. I really don't care. I'm sitting here waiting like, man, when it's going to pop out? When are they going to be ready? I've been ready. And so it's kind of like, I don't got nothing else. I mean, like I told him, you don't understand what you did. You don't understand. But I'm not reverting back to all that mess and all that drama. On the way. just to get to a better place and get to what we need to get through, it has to be some of this. And it's sad. It's going to be a lot of crying and weeping and gnashing of teeth, like he said, which is this. Do we not mourn for the people that are lost? Do we not cry for the people that lose their life every day over stupid, silly stuff from transgressing the commandments? Contrary if they know they're doing it or not, they're doing it. Do we not mourn? Do our teeth not be just to the point we have nothing to say, it's closed? Do we not understand that simplicity? Do we take it to be extreme as the Christians and try to throw people and bind them to hell with their words? Or do we uplift with our words and give clear understanding that we're mourning, we're gnashing of teeth, we're crying, we're hurting for the ones that we know judgment is going to come upon? For we know not the day or the hour, but we know what's coming. We mourn for those that we love that's of our own kind, because they so sick-necked and so stiff-necked and so stubborn they don't want to repent. They don't want to say, I was wrong, Father. I was wrong, Mama. I was wrong, this. I completely had this all mixed up. I'm sorry from the transgression of the covenant. I'm going to go to my sisters and I'm going to apologize. I'm going to try to straighten this out any way I can do it, by any means necessary. I'm going to change my way and be a better person, because I got to lead my family. I got to lead my children. I got to lead my sisters. I got to lead my nieces. I got to lead all these people that I called by my name and my nation. I can't fail you. Instead of them coming like that, all they gonna do is sit up there and continue to talk about nonsense, throw strife, speak hate, deny the truth in front of them, or deny anything of anything. Keep putting their neck on the women. Keep hating the authority that was given, because they know it's no truth in them and that they love to be worshipped. They love to be worshipped. They love to sit and look like they love thou worship. They love men attention. They seek and thirst after their own filthiness, their own abominations, because they don't want the truth to heal them. They don't want to have to go through that fire. They don't want to go through that process of withdrawal. They want friends. They want family. They want to be recognized everywhere. And you know what? That's their downfall. So continue to go through that path. That's on y'all. But I'm going to continue to pray for the ones that's on there, that's getting on there, that wants to find it, so they can have their soul deliverance, and they can have a better resting place inside. They can have the peace in the things. But we know that mourning, gnashing of teeth, and all these things are coming and are here and speak every moment of the day as we go through the evening, through the night, through the day. But I just thank y'all so much for sticking in there, for the ones all over the world that scattered, for sticking in there. If they hear me or come across, that you contend for the faith of Christ, Yahuwah or Yeshua, because that is his name, and his name will always be forevermore. For we take the good out of YHWH and we become YHVS, a living soul. We become to eat and partake of Yahuwah blessings and everything that he wanted to restore from us from the beginning. And so I'm going to just pray for my enemies that despitefully use me and persecute me. For I know that this will come. And so I'm going to stand firm, and I'm going to keep on stepping on y'all necks. And I'm going to keep on chopping y'all down. And I'm going to keep on speaking it high upon the land, because this is what it came to. Because I want to see all be free. I want all to know the Most High, and I also want us to be at a better place in a relationship among each other. And certain things have to be moved out the way. Certain things just have to be moved out the way because grace has been taken to be acceptable more than truth, more than love, more than fear of Halloween, which gave us those things that are good and right, for us to know the ways of the wicked, for us to know how we should get back to him, and for we know how to walk on the light, stop path. So I thank y'all so much. I'm just gonna sit that here. I'm really right here posted up at a church right now. I had to get away from that land right there so I can be able to get some clear insight. You know, being over there with all that, to get some clear insight. I'm planning on within the next, maybe, I don't know, got some plans in mind for some things. So just praying each day, giving the glory to the Father for creating me, allowing me to see this day, allowing me to see this beautiful and wonderful day, being able to wake up and breathe and speak. It's just a blessing, and I don't take it for granted. So when I get the chance, I praise, I glorify, I read, I try to stay on track. And like I said, not being of the world and cares of the world is being hard. It's hard because people want you to go back to their ways, or they want you to sit up here and ask, what change? You're changing. What's going on? You're changing, and right in front of your eyes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm changing to something better. I'm changing into my full state, my form. I'm changing to where I come from. I don't want no more. When I've enhanced, probably beyond measure, I can even fathom. But what more do I have in the world? I have allowed. Alright, guys, I just gave y'all to have, which is free. Just venting on my Facebook. Just if y'all don't get up and start. Sorry. But I thank y'all for tuning in. I'm ending this session because it's too. I'm so sorry. My phone is just. Oh my God, my phone is just. I'm sorry. But anyway, so I'm going to end this at 12:34 a.m. on April the 16th, 2021 on the Gregorian calendar. Hope this reach y'all well on the Sabbath, and I hope to see beautiful, wonderful meekness, lessons, thorough, equipped, and full of love. So, y'all stay tuned till next time. I love you all. Have a great, restful evening / morning, or whenever you get this message. Thank you. Love you.